Let her roll. Let me know when we have speed.
Speed.
3, 2, 1. It's yours, Bobbie.
Martin, when I found out you were in this movie, and then when I found out we were going to be able to talk here in Austin, I was really delighted because I remember the madness in Tucson when we did the junket for Three Amigos, and I had you all sing the Amigos song.
Yes.
Have you sung it since?
No, not today. No,
yeah. Haven't done the Amigos.
Well, it's early yet. By dawn, I'll have sung it.
But now you're in a whole different kind of madness here in Innerspace. And as I was watching you on the screen and all the things you had to go through, I couldn't help but wonder, was there anything in this movie that was just so far out for you that you thought, I don't know if I can ever handle that?
Virtually a lot. You know, I mean, I'm dangling from trucks. I'm transforming. I'm dancing wildly. There's a lot in this film that you, truthfully, I was very challenged by and delighted that I was getting a chance to do. It's a great character to play.
What about the stunt with the truck when you're escaping from the meat truck and everything? How much of that did you actually have to go through?
Well, you can kind of see in the film that a great deal of it is myself. I tend to be able to do some of that stuff myself, and but I was very safe, of course, in doing it.
Were the vehicles actually moving when you were doing that?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Slowly, I hope.
Yeah, well, there was a clip there. There was a clip.
And so you actually had to be straddled out like that.
Yeah.
That's scary.
No, not really. I was balancing. I knew what I was doing.
Okay.
Cut 2 in the hospital.
How long did that go on?
That segment took about a week to shoot.
Wow.
In all the pieces.
Yeah. What were some of the other wild and dangerous things you had to do?
Well, there was nothing truthfully dangerous that I did, but wild there was, you know, I mean, at one point I am attacked by little midgets, and that was strange. That scene took a week, although it's so interesting doing a film with effects, because these scenes take so long, and you see them on the screen, and they go by in a minute, and you remember sitting in that car, you know, while all the pieces to make it look real of special effects were done. There were transformations in the film. There were. It was so pleasurable an experience. I had so much fun doing this film. I enjoyed working with Joe Dante and the cast, Dennis Quaid and Meg and Kevin McCarthy, so much that there was really, every day was a pleasure experience. I was saying that to someone that I was so pleased when I saw the film last night for the first time that it was good, because I had such a good time making this film that I didn't want these memories to be tainted in any way by just kind of, you know, but I'm pleased with this.
I was thinking also, Martin, that it's such a preposterous story, and as an actor, you know, how do you get a handle onto something that preposterous?
Well, I think that the only way it can work is if you ground the character in truth and in reality, so that.
But that's hard to do with this kind of story, isn't it?
Well, if you do no, I just took everything. It could happen. What if it happened? You know. What if there were a little miniaturized astronaut going around in my body, and you know, he realistically, for example, thinks he's going insane when or is possessed, which is what I would do. If someone started talking to me, I wouldn't assume that an astronaut was inside me. I'd phone a clinic, get a rape.
People still, I'm sure, come up and talk with you about SCTV, right?
Yes.
Yes. And when I told people I was coming here to talk with you, they said, Katharine Hepburn, Katharine Hepburn. You get that a lot?
Oh, sure, yes. Both shows, Saturday Night Live and SCTV, were... it's amazing to me how many people still... SCTV is in reruns, but not Saturday Night Live, but how many people vividly remember these scenes, some of the scenes that I did. And then I remember that, of course, everyone tapes everything, so that's why they can quote these lines.
What is your favorite Katharine Hepburn line?
I only really did. No, that's not true. I did 2 Katharine Hepburn sketches on Saturday Night Live. My favorite, though, was Lifestyles of the Relatives of the rich and famous were. It was really Nelson Hepburn, Catherine's nephew, who was a hot dog vendor in Central Park. And then later on, Billy Crystal and I did Kate and Allie, where he was Muhammad Ali. Kate, I'm tired of these eggs. Oh, just eat them, Allie. You know, that was like that, too.
Do you have any idea whether or not she has ever seen that or not?
I don't think Kate is taping. I think I think she's got her life pretty full.
So
I'm sure if I went up to her, she'd say, "Who the hell are you? Get out of my way."
when you're doing someone like that, do you ever stop to think about supposing you meet them and what you would say to them or they would say to you?
Well, I think that the trick is you don't want to do something that's just arbitrarily mean or mean-spirited. And so as long as you're not doing that, I'm never concerned that I'm going to meet them and they're going to slug me or anything.
If you did meet Miss Hepburn, what do you think you'd say?
I'd probably say, "Hi, Audrey," and and she'd walk away. I once met Richard Burton, and he said, I wanted to be so cool, and I'd seen him in Camelot. I said, "Mr. Burton, you were so wonderful in this show and in your characterization." I was just said the exact correct thing, expecting that he would say thank you and move on, but he didn't. He said, "Well, didn't you find the sound system reverberating? At one point I couldn't hear my own voice." And I just looked at him and said, "Thank you." And he then looked at me like I was insane, and then he walked away. I was only prepared to say my one segment. I couldn't carry on a conversation with the man. So I'd probably blow it.
Was he somebody you've always admired, or at that time you had always admired him?
Dick Burton, yes. I thought he was pretty profound. Great voice. I guess that's no news to anyone.
You have a great ear for voices. Is there anybody that you would like to emulate that you can't?
Lots of people. Some people that... in SCTV we would always sometimes... We'd have the voice, but we wouldn't have the face. Or we'd have the face, but we didn't have the voice. And so you couldn't do those people.
Who could you not do?
It's just most of the world. My selection is not that grand.
Cary Grant. You could do Cary Grant.
Cary Grant. No, but I would do the way, "You dirty rat." Just kind of bad impersonators club type stuff. "Hello, my little chickadee." I can do bad impersonations well. Some people you just lock into. I remember my brother-in-law, Bob Dolman, who was writing on SCTV, wrote a piece about Norman Mailer and Gore Vidal and said, "Do you think you can do Gore Vidal?" And he kind of took tapes and studied it and made. And by the end of it, while working just concentrate, you had Vidal. By the end, you lost it the second. It was like exams. The second they yell rap, you can't do it anymore.
Well, Martin, we're out of time, darn it. But anyway, enjoyed you so much in this
Thank
film.
you.
I think you all have a big hit on your hands. I really do.
I hope
Should
so.
do well. Should do well. Look forward to seeing you next time.
Thank you.
Good interview, Martin. Thanks.